Spoiler alert! This video will contain spoilers for Destroy All Humans and Destroy All Humans 2. If you don't want to be spoiled on the stories of either of these games, you're going to want to avoid this one. Hey guys, Arthur Wonderfluff here with another video. Today we're going to look at Destroy All Humans 2. First, let me give you a brief rundown of what the series is for those of you who are just joining us. Destroy All Humans was a series of open-world action-adventure games originally published by THQ. They were very comedic games that were loving tributes and spoofs of old alien invasion flicks, as well as the stereotypes of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the decades that the games take place in. And they had a lot of cool sci-fi elements. Among other notable things, this series was one of the only times where we get an alien invasion story from the alien invader's point of view. And frankly, I believe this series had a lot of potential, but it died far too soon. Moving on, this video is covering the second game in the series. So without further ado, cue the transition slide and the elevator music. Developed by Pandemic Studios and published by THQ, Destroy All Humans 2 was released for the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox on October 17, 2006. Obviously, it's the sequel to the original game. It's also the last game in the series that Pandemic Studios would create, as afterwards it would be purchased by EA. This time around, Cryptosporidium number 138, as well as Orthopox 13 have an adventure that takes them not just through America, but all across the world circa 1969. So, without further ado, let's jump into the story. Set in 1969, Destroy All Humans 2 opens with a KGB meeting, as we are shown a slideshow. The slideshow establishes that Crypto-137 has died for unknown reasons in the 10-year gap between the first and second games, and that Cryptosporidium 138, his successor, has continued to assume the role of President Huffman. The KGB is also strangely keen to point out that Cryptosporidium 138 is the first Furon born with the package. They conclude that the Furons are a threat to the Soviet Union and use a nuclear missile to destroy the Furon mothership, killing Pox in the process. While this is happening, Crypto's at a shindig in Bay City, and he's attacked out of the blue by KGB agents. After fighting through the agents, Crypto gets to the Hashbury section of Bay City and discovers a Holopox unit, as Pox was able to download his consciousness into a unit just before his death. And Crypto's objective becomes clear, as he and Pox must seek revenge for the destruction of their mothership. And to that end, Crypto and Pox change their focus in order to focus now on getting revenge on the KGB. As Crypto gathers more intelligence, he discovers that Ivan Orenchov is the man leading the KGB in a plot where they'll use the hippie guru Coyote Bongwater's Revelade drink to convert Bay City into a communist farming community via blimps filled with it. Yep, you heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. The KGB is using blimps filled with a popular hippie drink to gas the people of Bay City with said drink in order to turn it into a farming commune. Interestingly, Crypto fights and defeats Bongwater in a okay battle before proceeding to stop that plot. But as Bongwater was dying, he only then learns of the KGB's plot for the first time. So the KGB manipulated these hippies into unknowingly collaborating with them and aiding their plot by providing the Revelade, and not even the man responsible for promoting Revelade knew anything about it. Yeah, this game is weird. Anyway, after the Revelade plot fails, the KGB goes into full rage quit table flip mode, as their backup plan is, wait for it, trying to blow up Bay City with nuclear bombs. Luckily, Crypto is able to stop that from happening by using the saucer to drop the nukes into the water. He then discovers and destroys the KGB's secret base on the rock. But Pox and Crypto then discover that Orenchov has fled to Albion, England to work with the KGB presence there. And for the first time, the series goes international, as Crypto and Pox fly to England. In Albion, Crypto confronts Oranchov, who uses strange spores the KGB has developed in order to turn into a mutant. Crypto still defeats him, however. Crypto teams up with M16 secret agent Reginald Ponsonby Smythe, we'll just call him Ponsonby, and the rogue KGB agent Natalia Ivanova. Side note, this Crypto with the package flirts an ungodly amount with Natalia. I don't think it's a big deal or really even that much of a problem, but the joke does get old. I thought I'd bring it up now. Now let's get back to the story. They discover that the KGB is trying to use these spores to mutate many of Albion's citizens into monsters. Crypto is able to stop this plot by destroying the KGB's spore canisters. In an interesting bit of continuity, the ending of the original game gets a bit of a callback as Ponsonby then betrays Crypto, revealing that M16 is actually Majestic Command, 16th Sector, and he tries to kill Crypto in what is admittedly a somewhat underwhelming boss battle. It does not go well for him. As he's dying, he tells Crypto to consider whether the Furons really are the only alien race on Earth. But Crypto doesn't think too much of it at the time. Afterwards, Crypto and Natalia reunite. Crypto, being the explosive psychopath we all know and love, provides a very violent distraction so that Natalia can infiltrate the KGB embassy to get information on the secret KGB project known as Solaris. Natalia discovers that the KGB has dealings in Takashima, Japan, and the two of them travel there separately. Crypto is able to get intel on the KGB, and discovers that they have an offshore volcano lair. He discovers a Furon-worshipping ninja clan simply known as the White Ninja, and is tasked with finding Dr. Go. Yes, the exclamation point is a part of his name. Who has information on Solaris but has been abducted by the KGB and the White Ninja's opposing clan, the Black Ninja. After doing some things for Dr. Go, Crypto is the location of the base and the password, I love you. After Crypto and Natalia work together to storm the volcano lair, the Soviet Premier Milenkov addresses them via a video screen, and shows them footage of agents mutating an intern named Kojiro. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get the reference? For the one person who didn't get it, it's a Godzilla spoof. Pox can't figure out an explanation for Kojiro, and simply urges Crypto to follow her to land. What follows is a fantastic and very fun boss fight. The monster regains health by leveling buildings, so you basically have to destroy the buildings before she can heal from it. And the fight sees Crypto and the Takashima Defense Force having to almost work together to take her down. At one point in the boss fight, the sex-crazed and ever-cool and collected badass Crypto expresses a rare genuine fear as he says, "I'm worried about getting my ass stomped," selling just how dangerous Kojiro is. This is one of the best boss fights in the Destroy All Humans series, and in my opinion it is easily the best in Destroy All Humans 2. After Crypto defeats Kojiro, causing her to revert to her human form, Natalia tells Crypto that the KGB has shifted their focus to Tunguska in Russia, and the duo is off. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you will allow me just a second to be sidetracked, I'd like to give you some fluffy trivia. Tunguska, the town this section of the game takes place in, shares its name with the stony Tunguska River, and more relevant to the game, the Tunguska Event of 1908, where a meteoroid or some other object burst in midair over the eastern Siberian taiga, flattening 2,000 square kilometers or 770 square miles of forest. Yet oddly, officially speaking, it didn't kill anybody. This event is classified as the largest impact event in recorded human history. In the game's version of the world, a small town sprung up around that area, and the event itself is very relevant to the remainder of this game's plot. Anyway, I hope you'll forgive me for that digression, and I hope you found that information as interesting as I did. Now let's get back to the plot of Destroy All Humans 2, shall we? Natalia breaks into the KGB base at Tunguska to get more information on Solaris, and escapes with Crypto's help. they discovered that the KGB is sending a uranium shipment to a strange, smog-covered base lying in a crater to the north. With help from Natalia's ally Sergei, they steal the uranium fuel rods and use them to destroy the strange alien-like generators found below, and this clears up the smog. When Crypto and Pox go to this base, they discover a very strange alien race. So, I presume you guys remember that Tunguska event that I randomly brought up a moment ago? Well, here's where it factors in. Pox thinks it over for a couple of moments before realizing that the aliens the two of them are looking at are the Blisk, an opposing species the Furons thought they had exterminated via nuclear warfare by nuking Mars until it became an inhospitable wasteland. And the Tunguska event was actually caused, according to Destroy All Humans 2, because a single Blisk warship was able to survive with some Blisk aboard, and despite being disabled, the warship was able to drift through space until ultimately Earth's gravitational pull dragged it in through the atmosphere and caused it to crash land in Russia. Pox also establishes that after they had thought they had eliminated the Blisk, the Furon Emperor decreased the defense budget for the Furons, and as a result, Crypto's weaponry and his saucer will not be able to do any damage at all to the Blisk or to their warship. In other words, we've got this weird alien race that our protagonists thought that had been exterminated years ago, centuries ago, via nukes, and instead, not only are they still alive, but they're still angry about what happened. They're impervious to their weapons, their saucer can't do anything, and on top of that, by the way, the Blisk feed on radiation, too, so it's no surprise that the Furons are shocked at the sight of the Blisk returning. After finding some power crystals, Crypto is able to power on the Blisk warship, enabling him to damage a single weak point on the ship in order to destroy it. Afterwards, Natalia, imprisoned in a Blisk gas bubble, is rescued by Crypto, and Milenkov meets them face to face for the very first time, telling them that Solaris is on the moon, as Crypto lampshades how villains just have to have their monologues. Naturally, they go to the moon. On the moon, Pox can't track where Milenkov is, but he does detect a very large Blisk presence. The Blisk and the Soviets are now working together, but the Blisk treat the Soviet workers as if they were slaves. Natalia tells us that Solaris is a Blisk superweapon that will be used to bombard the Earth with spores and radiation to basically turn it into a new Blisk homeworld. Come to think of it, it reminds me of Baby from Dragon Ball GT. But then again, I'm sure none of you want to hear me ramble on about Dragon Ball GT, and even if you did, you would probably want a separate video for that, so I'll save you the time and the trouble. Anyway, Crypto is able to disguise himself as a top Soviet scientist and convince the cosmonauts to turn and go to war against the Blisk, and Crypto is able to use this to his advantage by successfully sabotaging the firing mechanism of Solaris to stop the plot from taking place. Milenkov appears, and he hits us with yet another neat plot twist. Ever since the Blisk crashed in Tunguska, the Blisk have secretly led the Soviet Union. And basically every single premier was actually a Blisk in disguise. Apparently, the Blisk language and Russian are very similar languages. The Blisk are thus responsible for many world crises, including the Cold War. After relaying this information, Milenkov leaves. Pox tells Crypto about a virus he's been working on, and that it's being shipped by the North American Shipping Association, or as everybody likes to call them, NASA. And an entertaining defense mission takes place as Crypto defends two astronauts who are flying to the moon and making history. Except this time around, needless to say, the two of them didn't get along very well, and things go quite differently compared to the actual moon landing. After the virus arrives, Crypto and Natalia fight through the Blisk hive, using it to destroy the Blisk once and for all. Crypto and Natalia briefly celebrate their success, but Milenkov arrives and shoots Natalia dead in cold blood before revealing his Blisk form, and trying to kill Crypto in what is, unfortunately, yet again, a really underwhelming boss fight. Crypto kills him, and then we're back on the saucer, where Crypto is talking with Pox, who is on a video screen, about having taken up an interest in science, as Pox notices the cloning lab was used recently. He reveals that he cloned Natalia with some alterations, and he cuts off Pox's screen before presumably Crypto and the clone of Natalia get ready for, re-entry? Roll the credits. The mechanics in the gameplay are very similar to the first game, but on a much larger scale. Destroy All Humans 2 does not place any emphasis on collecting DNA, and in fact DNA is not tracked as a currency in this game. Although the saucer has a minigame known as the Gene Blender that allows you to abduct humans with your Abducto Beam to create gene blends to upgrade Crypto's PK or unlock bonus features. Two other currencies of a sort are added in place of DNA. First, there are Furotech cells, which are hidden around the game's worlds and are also earned by completing missions, and you can use these at Pox's shop to upgrade Crypto's gear and the saucer. And secondly, alien artifacts are a collectible item that play a big part in the Ark Voodoo Cult questline, as playing through all of those missions and collecting 30 alien artifacts grants you access to the Burrow Beast weapon. Data cores are obtained throughout the story and give you weapons. Enough said. Onto the gameplay elements. Crypto gets his Zap-O-Matic, Anal Probe, Disintegrator Ray, and Ion Detonator from the first game. Although, from this game onward, the Anal Probe does not need to charge to kill an enemy, but now only has a limited amount of ammo. Plus, he gets access to Gastro, who is another Furon who has placed himself into a hollow unit that causes quite a bit of damage to nearby enemies whenever he's fired out of his unique gun. The Meteor Strike, which is pretty self-explanatory, the Dislocator, which shoots floaty frisbee thingies, for lack of a better term, that send enemies into the air, and the Burrow Beast, a gun that shoots out a lure that brings out the beast to have a midday snack on your foes. Crypto's health is a Call of Duty style regenerating shield like it was before, and his jetpack is very similar to that of the original game, except now there's no batteries, so you can glide around for as long as you see fit. For PK, you still have the ability to move things with your mind, extract brain stems, hypnotize people into following or protecting you, and you can still read minds. PK has received some slight alterations, however. There's no concentration meter to limit your abilities. PK itself was nerfed somewhat in order to address the fact that it was too easy in the original game to one-shot humans with it. You can only read minds while you're disguised. You can now transmog things into ammunition for Crypto's guns, and Holobob was replaced by Crypto being able to body snatch. Free Love was added to the game, allowing you to distract everyone within a certain radius via hypnotizing somebody into throwing a dance party, and you get a special ability called Mind Flash that allows you to reset the alert level and temporarily freeze everybody in the game world for a short amount of time. Mind Flash is the reason that the game still allows you to extract brains with PK or the Anal Probe, as other than recharging the ability of Mind Flash, you never need to collect DNA. Body Snatching is a very useful ability, as it is needed to talk to certain NPCs for missions and to enter certain areas. But the entire time that Crypto is inside of a host, their health bar will go down, so you can't sit around and goof around in their body forever. The saucer is also very similar to the original game's saucer, although there are no more ammo or shield pickups available. The Abducto Beam now has some new abilities in order to compensate for that, as you can now abduct people for the Gene Blender, drain vehicles to recharge the saucer's shields, or transmog objects to get ammo for the saucer's weapons. Weaponry-wise, you have the Death Ray, Sonic Boom, Quantum Deconstructor, and an all-new toy, the Anti-Gravity Field, which shoots a ball that sucks in things and then destroys them in a spectacular explosion. Other than the Sonic Boom being nerfed a little bit, not much changed there. In terms of enemies, Crypto has cops, soldiers, secret agents, East and West Yakuza, KGB agents, Blisk mutants, and Blisk. The alert level is very similar to the system from the first game, but it is now represented by a ring that is around the radar, which fills up more and more as you alert more people, and it changes colors to indicate what level you're at. The alert levels are as follows. At green, civilians are very aware of you, and the cops are a little bit aware, but not too badly. At blue level, higher cop awareness, more cops will be thrown at you, and they'll be better armed with shotguns and stuff like that. At yellow, the military is aware of your presence, and they'll send APCs carrying 4 troops, along with a reduced cop presence. In Takashima and Tunguska, special tanks that shoot laser beams will also be thrown at you. At orange level, cop vehicles are gone entirely, as the military is more alerted and they will use APCs in the place of police cars. Tanks will appear, APCs will carry 6 soldiers, and there will be an increased cop presence on foot. In Tunguska, at orange level, the KGB will start patrolling. At red, which is the highest alert level you can go to, it's basically martial law, as this will have the maximum military presence, as they will send APCs with 7 soldiers at you. SAM turrets will be deployed to take down the saucer, and soldiers will patrol the area on foot, while a reduced pedestrian presence is also notable. Body snatching and using free love will allow you to escape from attention, but will not lower the alert level. But they also added phones to the game, and whenever you're in the body of a cop or a soldier, you can go to a phone and call the police to either raise or lower the alert. So in other words, they actually did kinda sort of add a pay-and spray to destroy all humans. Huh. Will wonders never cease? For sandboxes, you have Bay City, Albion, Takashima, Tunguska, and the Moon. All of them are used pretty well, although I found that Tunguska was a little bit dull, and not that much actually happens on the Moon. Sometimes new missions will be unlocked at later points in the game for sandboxes that you've already completed all of the story missions for, so you might want to check back every now and again. Interestingly, this game introduces the Furon deity Arkvoodle of the Sacred Crotch, who Crypto builds a cult around, allowing us to do a bunch of side quests for that cult, as well as giving us an ally, Shamalama. And the game also introduces odd jobs, which are miscellaneous side missions. Arkvoodle also has a bunch of idols all over the various sandboxes, and doing the things that these idols ask will allow you to unlock extra landing zones for your saucer. In dialogue, Crypto is given the ability to pick what he's going to actually say, so you're given a little bit more in the way of dialogue in this game. The game also adds 2-player exclusive missions and the ability to play the game in co-op. All in all, Destroy All Humans 2 truly does go for bigger is better. In closing, Destroy All Humans 2 is a wacky, fun time. Starting here, the series cranked the wacky meter all the way up to 11.5. Humor-wise, this one's very over-the-top and referential, even lampshading weird story tropes. For example, Crypto listens to a radio broadcast in Takashima in order to find the White Ninja, and at the end of the broadcast, the host even says, "And if you think that's clumsy exposition, you ain't just whistling Dixie, pal," after proceeding to tell everybody exactly where the ninja lair is. A personal favorite of mine is that, like in the first game with the silhouette twist, the Ponsonby Majestic twist can actually be revealed to the player early if you read Ponsonby's mind. Since you have to be disguised as a human to read minds, and you're only around Ponsonby a couple of times in the game before he turns on you, you would have to be going out of your way to find that, unless you have dumb luck and just so happen to randomly stumble upon that. I think that that's just brilliant. Gameplay is as fun as ever, ironing out a lot of the flaws of the original game, and while the game is still a bit short, they give you a ton of things to do with Furatech cells, alien artifacts, odd jobs, Arkvoodle cults, gene blends, and a lot more. It's crystal clear to me that Pandemic Studios knew exactly what they were doing, and they clearly wanted to put out a very quality product. If this were my exit from a series that I had created, I would want my exit to be this game. This was a fun, memorable experience. This is basically the first game, but better in pretty much every single way. I would very much recommend this one. As I mentioned at the start of the video, the original version of this game is on PlayStation 2 and Xbox. However, it is not backwards compatible to my knowledge with the Xbox 360, so if you are interested in buying it for the 360, that's not going to be an option, I'm afraid. If you're on PS4, you're in luck, as there is an HD version of Destroy All Humans 2, which was again put out by THQ Nordic on November 29th, 2016. So, if you're interested in checking out the game, you can't go wrong with it on PS2, Xbox, or PS4, I would imagine. I played it on PS2, just like I did back in the day, And just like back in the day, I think it's still as fun as ever. So, until next time, this is Arthur Wonderfluff, signing out. Hopefully this review was of some use to you.